Hello everyone and welcome to another One Punch Man the Strongest video. So today we'll be looking at Star Ascension card or SAC for short. So I do One Punch Man content. If let's say you want to see more of this content, please like and subscribe. So the Star Ascension card can be found over here. It basically helps you to enhance your buff gears over here, your gears, and also your keepsake, and also insignia. So it actually gives quite a lot of stats. If let's say you look at this, it actually gives you plus 10% attack for just 8 SACs. So how you obtain these cards is basically from here, Martial Dojo. There's a shop over here. So it will give you 3 SAC per 2 weeks, so 6 a month. And over here, the points exchange, it gives you 4 a month because it resets every week. And over here, this one, so this you can get 1 every week, so 4 a month. And also just now, okay, for this one we have over here 2 a month, and from here, this one it depends on your rank, but for most people I would say getting to 1.2k is no issue, so it's about 4 to 5 a month. So in total you will get about 22 SAC per month. And also if let's say you were to get the monthly pack itself, it will be 13 a month, so add up to 35 a month. And if let's say you were to get the weekly pack that is over here, that is available only during the weekends, it will be 32 a month, so bringing your total up to 67 per month. Then anything else, it will be $5 per SAC. So this one, it will be, the sky is the limit for this one. But for most people, I would say 22 a month is a reasonable number. So next we'll be looking at SAC Calculator. So this calculator was actually created by one of the Discord user, and his name is SOC9. So this one is actually quite easy to use. Basically you just input the character name over here. So for example, you have a Genos, you just put in a Genos. And from there, the keepsake level, insignia level, the shirt depending on whether it is purple or orange. So in this case, I'll put in a 3 over here, a 3 over here, another 3 over here. Then for this is basically your buff card level. So if let's say you are using a purple card, put as a purple card. If let's say you are using an orange card, put in as an orange card. Then for talent sigil, depends on how many you open. So it's either 1 or 2, or 1, 2 or 3. So from there you can actually take a look at the amount of SAC that you are using per character. So essentially you calculate everything out, it will show you the total at the bottom over here. So you can actually take a look at how many SAC you have at the moment. And again, if let's say you want this calculator, you can join the main Discord, and from there retrieve it from the FAQ section. And also this calculator was created by SOC9. So once you have calculated your total SAC count, you want to decide on which ones to reverse. So in my case, I will have all the ones that I want to dismantle or reverse in orange, and for the ones that are somewhat decent gears, I will put it as yellow. So for the talents wise, it's in yellow because I do not have enough reversion for the sigil. So in this case, I will move it over to the next month. So I prioritize my the talent level 3 instead of my talent 1 and 2 is because it gives more SAC in return. So for the calculations itself, it will look something like this. So I categorize them into the support and the DPS. So the only difference will be the crit shirt itself with max crit shirt and without a max crit shirt. So you can actually take a screenshot when deciding on which characters will fall into which class and also how much SAC to give to them depending on how much SAC you have. Next, we'll be looking at how to use your SAC. So pretty much it only has three uses. One is your exclusive item, second, your gears, third, your buff gears. So essentially, ideally you want to have your exclusive items as the highest level. Most likely it will be your insignia, because for keepsake you are actually limited by the keepsake itself. So ideally, if let's say your badge is at 6 stars, you actually want your buff gears to be at 5 star and for your gears to be at 4 star. Reason being, for if let's say you take a look at this 0 stars, it will give 10% stats for 1 SAC, and if you look at gears, it will give you 4% stats for 2 SAC, and if let's say you look at the buff gears, it will take 2 SAC for 5% stats. So essentially it's best to actually raise the insignia first, and if let's say you take a look at a 1 star insignia over here, it will take 2 SAC for 10%, so it's still more worth it to go for the insignia. Only when it reaches the 3 star mark, then from there it will take 4 SAC to raise up to this 10%. So in this case, you might actually want to think about raising the buff gears instead, because essentially you use the 2 SAC, you can get 5%. It will be the same as if you use 4 to increase by 10. Then for gears wise, I would say put it as your last priority. Just make sure that it's about 2 stars below the insignia level. The exemption for this rule is for your crit gear. So for crit gear, you actually want to max it out as soon as possible. Reason being, for most players, they will actually be running RMG. So RMG as a passive, if let's say they do not take any crit damage, your damage will fall off significantly. So definitely mix it up, and also for Koketsu as well. If let's say your units don't crit, then your damage will drop significantly. Next, we'll be looking at team comp. So for most players, they'll either run a Phoenix, a Boros, or Sky King. Then for better players, they will be running Phoenix most of the time. So most players, they will be running on about 400 SAC or so. So 400 SAC, how they divide is usually 50% over here, 25% over here, 25% over here. So essentially 200 SAC, 100 SAC, 100 SAC. Then their speed order will usually be Genos, speed 1, to clear out the units before they get the Joro passive. Then from there, the RMG will be a speed 2, Titan as close to Genos as possible. Then from there, after Genos, take out the Undying units, the Phoenix Man, Zombie Man, Genos. Then from there, the RMG go ahead and take up the non-undying units, so all your non-undying units. Then from there, third speed Kabuto, usually it will go slightly slower because it is to give them time to actually damage onto you. Then from there, your Kabuto will heal himself up. Then because it takes a lot of damage, and from there the reflect damage will act as a third form of DPS to the opponent. So I would say this one is a solid comp. However, because for Joro, it actually has a passive. If let's say it's standing in the same column as a tank or as a monster ally, then from there it will take, the monster ally will take additional 50% damage. So it's actually very difficult for you to out tank your Genos. For most Genos, I would say it deals around 18 million. So 18 million divided by 6 is around 3 million. So 3 million plus your RMG usually deals around 5 million. So it's already 8 million HP. And on top of that, if let's say for most players with 100 SAC, usually their Kabuto is only 4 million. So 4 million plus the 80% from Juro, it will be around 7.2 million. So with a Genos and an RMG swipe, usually the Kabuto will be dead. If let's say it is unyielding, then usually it will be killed off because it was tanking for this Juro itself. Then on top of that, alloy, the shards are very difficult to get. So usually it will be a very low purple star. Even if they have a 5 star, it will only be 50% out damage reduction. So this one is not considering that the second turn onwards, the RMG will start to auto attack. And some of the auto attack targets will usually be these two and not the ones behind. So usually by turn 2, they will die off already. And this one is a very big weakness because even though your RMG can be maybe maxed out 700 plus SAC, but because it dies off, your 700 SAC is essentially wasted. So in this case, what I recommend is actually instead of 100 SAC Kabuto, you put in 100 SAC Tank Top. Instead of 0 SAC Alloy, you put in 0 SAC Goketsu. Then you put it like this. So essentially, the Tank Top, it will give a 20% shield without keepsake to the allies over here and over here. Then Juro will give him additional max HP lah. So essentially, if let's say you were to max out this one is very important but we'll talk about talents in a separate video. So for all these HP nodes you have to max out, even though you might be running low on vitality, but at least max this out. The rest, the defense, actually you don't have to touch. Yeah, so as long as you max out the HP, it will give the most amount of shield. Then some more for the buff tiers itself, you can actually give him chunk stat buff tiers lah. So you can just anyhow wash, then just raise up the SAC for these buff cards. For this one, it's somewhat decent, but I'm actually going to swap it with Genos once I'm putting him up. So essentially, this will be my Tank Top buff cards. It's not much though. So in this case, once the Amai Mask come, I can just straight away dismantle all this without any issue. Then for this one, it's good because of the synergy lah. If let's say you put in the Kabuto SAC onto him, most likely it will be 4 million HP. Then from there, after the Juro passive, it will be 7.2 million HP. Then from there, it will give out a 20% shield lah. So the shield will be 1.4 million over here, 1.4 million over here. So giving you additional 2.8 million effective HP. Then if let's say you have a Goketsu buff itself, then it will be additional 80% shield rate. So making the shield 2.592 million HP. So if let's say your RMG, usually you will have 2 million. So 2 million plus the Juro passive, 3.6 million. So 3.6 million, if let's say you get hit by a Genos, 21.6 million HP. Most likely it will die off. Even if it's unyielding, it will be very easy to kill off. Then if let's say you have a 2.592 million shield coming in, it will take a Genos 37.152 million to actually insta-kill your RMG. So it will be very difficult to actually kill off. On top of that, because your Phoenix will be alive by turn 2, your Tank Top will be alive, Juro most likely will be alive because of Goketsu, then Goketsu will be alive, RMG will be alive, Genos will be alive. So essentially your fallout on turn 2 is very very strong. Then for most players by this time they will be wiped out already. If let's say they are not wiped out, then turn 3 onwards your RMG will continue to follow up to kill them off lah. So it's actually very strong because although you only have 100 SAC, but because you know how to maximize to actually increase the amount of effective HP you have, and from there, because the RMG have more effective HP, it can do more effective damage to the enemy. So actually this lineup is very strong, and some more this is considering a no keepsake Tank Top with 400 SAC count. Imagine if the player has maybe 2k plus SAC, then maybe 500 over here, 500 over here, 500 over here, 500 over here. So your team will be very solid already. Essentially, your front line will not be killed, your back lines will not be killed. In Club War, I will suggest this lineup. Although you don't have the Juro stick to Koketsu giving you more heal, but because for Club War itself, most likely the Genos will plus these two, then the RMG will come for this. So because in Club War, the unyielding spot is, you can stand on the unyielding spot, so it actually makes up for the weakness. And on top of that, because the Juro is here, if let's say we decide to snipe this using a Boros kick, your Phoenix will actually tank for your Juro, so it's very difficult. And on top of that, of the shield, some more is fast speed. If let's say you run the 4 speed here, like I mentioned, for Genos usually you actually run 1 crit, so definitely it will be slower than the tank top if you have the same speed lines. So it's actually very strong because of all these different synergy. So although 100 SAC, but effectively you can gain a lot more. Yeah, I hope this is actually helpful to you in your lineup planning and also SAC planning itself. And with that, thank you for watching and have a nice day. Goodbye.